Hi, my name's Ian. I'm an engineer. I've done some business. I'm a dad, and you know, I was feeling bad about climate change, and that recently has changed a bit, and it's all due to this molecule. So, this is nitrogen. The air is 78% nitrogen and hydrogen. You can make this with green electricity. You use the electricity to split water and get the hydrogen, and you combine it with nitrogen out of the air. Why do you do this instead of just hydrogen? This is much easier to handle. It's so in most circumstances, like compressing hydrogen actually takes a lot of energy. So storing it chemically rather than at 10,000 psi makes a lot of practical like handling sense, and from an energy perspective also makes sense. So there we are. We have this amazing green fuel, and this is coming online in gangbusters. This is like, I don't know where you are, but I'm in Canada here. It's starting to come, but around the world, there are like many multi-billion dollar projects dedicated to this. And one region of the world that is, in my notion, absolutely leading the charge on this is Japan. Um, totally visionary, like totally, whoa, good job, Japan. Um, so we're a couple years into the strategy, but I want to just back up a second. I saw today an article a couple years old from Bloomberg, and it was totally dunking on this strategy. The title of it was Japan's costly ammonia coal co-firing strategy. Okay, so I mean, topically, ammonia can burn, and it burns green. And so, in order to build some supply and demand, in order to get a market for ammonia as a fuel, Japan is modifying some of their coal plants so that they can co-fire. What do I mean by co-fire? They can burn all coal, or you can blend into the coal green ammonia. Um, and blending that in means you use less coal, so you have less greenhouse gas emitted. Um, and so is it as green as a windmill? No. But I mean, they're designing these so that you can blend up to 100% ammonia. So possibly as green as a windmill. Um, but yeah, I just want to just dunk on this report. Like it had, I wasn't going to make a video today, and it had me so mad I had to stop and make a video. So uh, I actually came to it from another article that said, oh, Bloomberg says Japan is going to produce all this NOx, and the NOx is going to wipe out all of the benefit of the green ammonia. Now, NOx is nitrous oxide. It's a greenhouse gas, and it is produced in combustion. You can, your car can make it. If you burn pure hydrogen, you can make it. The air is, again, 78% nitrogen. So in a very, under the wrong combustion circumstances, the air, uh, the oxygen and nitrogen in the air can form this NOx. Now, there's some really bad science out there that says because ammonia has nitrogen in it, it creates NOx. But like the air has nitrogen in it. It's not. So here's a snippet of what they said. Since the ammonia molecules include nitrogen, ammonia combustion generates nitrous oxide. Is that what the graph says? I mean, this is their graph. This is from the article. This is their graph. Okay. So the upright is the NOx in parts per million, and the x-axis is the furnace length. This has to do with designing a combustion chamber. What does it say? It says do a good design and you have zero NOx. Like, what the hell, man? It doesn't say, oh, NOx is a problem. It says do a decent design. You do it once. You install it in your plant and you're done. No NOx. Like, honestly, what the fuck? This is your, I mean, how did this get, anyway, this is how I came to the article, and there's other things in there that made me mad. So I'm going to share what else made me mad. So Japan isn't green, and that's okay. I mean, this graph goes back to 1990. And this is all the industries that produce carbon dioxide, right? So power on the bottom produces a lot of carbon dioxide, and that has gone up a bit. And yeah, they had a meltdown, but like that didn't really change the amount of a nuclear meltdown in Fukushima. But it didn't really change the amount of carbon dioxide they put out, the power industry. And similarly, yeah, their car, like, transport industry, yeah, I mean, you can buy a Tesla there. There's a Prius, but like over time, still, those two industries produce a lot of carbon dioxide. And if you convert over to ammonia, those won't. Now, I mean, we use 100 million barrels of oil a day. It takes years and years and years and years of building to even dent that. But, why wouldn't we? So here, the ratio of fossil fuel is huge, right? It's like 68% of all their power is fossil fuel. And Bloomberg is harping on that. Oh, well, I mean, one of the big takeaways, and we'll get to that, is we should invest in green energy rather than retrofitting coal plants. But I mean, according to the plan, they are investing massively in green. So, like, okay, should they invest 40% rather than 38% in green? Um, let me get into why I think this is all just bad reporting. So, I mean, remember that last graph? It didn't, hydro wasn't on it. All right. So apparently they do have some pumped hydro. Okay. So here they're comparing the cost, the levelized cost of green solutions, wind, solar plus battery, with green ammonia. Okay. But they're different, right? So, and one of their also, like, throwaway comments in this is adding more renewables to Japan's electric system will certainly need more balancing services. So that means, use a battery to supplement peak power, for example. Fortunately, they already have a large fleet of pumped hydro assets originally designed to store nuclear power at night. Okay, but no. I mean, your nuclear was only a small part of your mix. Remember, it was like 68% coal and natural gas. Like, your ratio, you don't have nearly that much pumped hydro. It's just do the math, man. Like, that's not right. Right? So yes, wind is cheaper than ammonia in a power plant. Absolutely. But why do you still probably need the ammonia? Let me explain. every green system, they talk about a capacity factor. And that means a 1 megawatt windmill doesn't put out 1 megawatt. On average, it puts out about 30% of that. But the actual output swings wildly. So this graph here shows daily output. This is Spain, but same difference. Daily output of wind and solar. This isn't even hourly. This is daily. Hourly, it's even more jagged. And so if you want to be able to turn on the lights, you need supply, right? So one of the reasons for batteries is, for example, solar. It's sunny at noon and we use peak power at 7 p.m. So you can store some of that sun from noon and use it at 7 p.m. And that works great if you were cycling your battery daily. Okay. But green energy is also seasonal. Okay. So it doesn't make any economic sense to store energy from the summer to use in the winter. It doesn't work that way. I mean, that kind of battery storage is like bonkers amount of batteries. So on both daily basis, you could have 5 days with no wind. Your batteries are all depleted. What do you do? Or seasonality, the winter problem. In both of those circumstances, you need power, you need fuel. And so if you can have a green fuel, great. Right? Like so here they're also talking about, okay, Japan's ammonia demand seems ambitious given somebody's targeted somebody's projection. I mean, Japan isn't converting power plants based on some industry report. They are locking in contracts with people who will build green ammonia plants to supply them. Right? Like it's not wishful thinking. There's contracts in place. Come on, right? So yeah, the graph shows the actual market versus where they need to get to. Yeah, of course it needs to grow. They're going to build the plants. I already mentioned this in another video. Acme, ACME, I think it's pronounced Acme. It's an Indian green power producer. And the power plants have signed contracts to buy green ammonia from them. Right? They're building it now. So here's another thing which is just like baffling to me. All right. So one of their takeaways. So here the graph shows the cost of making green ammonia in Japan falling, cost of green ammonia from Australia again falling, and the cost of blue ammonia from the Middle East. Right. And here I'm gonna read their takeaway. By relying on two commodities to operate coal-fired plants rather than one, Japan runs the risk of worsening its long-term energy security. Well, if you can run up to 100% mix, it seems rather than worsening your security, you build in incredible flexibility, right? I mean, don't you see that? If I can use either fuel, I'm not at risk of one or the other. And again, remember, this is part of a greater strategy. There's this graph right here, $500 a ton. $500 a ton is gas at a pump at 30% less than we pay today. That's what that number says. That's the energy equivalent. So by building the supply and demand, not only do they have power security and green power and the ability to use more green power in their mix because their gas plants can flip them on and off when they need to supplement that stuff, right? Not only do they have all of that, that whole sector of transport can go green. And it can go green and save money. So, I mean, basically, when you see somebody's reporting saying something's a bad idea, right? Maybe it is, but like read the footnotes. Um, I mean, this just made me wild to see these so-called experts not understanding what a graph of NOx, like it's their own graph. Anyway, um, check out my other videos, like and subscribe, that kind of stuff. But like, be optimistic, okay? Like, very smart people are building green fuel. So, let's not dunk on it. Let's celebrate it so other people will build more supply. And yeah. Anyway, have a good day.